She adopted this black boy 20 years ago. Here's how he repaid her years later. A British woman has revealed she spent 5 years adopting a boy, age 6, she met in a Ugandan orphanage on her gap year, age 22, as her shy son wins legions of fans online after taking a nap on the This Morning sofa. Emily Larder, age 29, a primary school teacher who now lives in Worcestershire with her adopted son Adam, age 6, appeared on the ITV show Today and told how she flew to Uganda to volunteer in 2014. However, just days into her trip, she started caring for a 5-day-old baby called Adam, whose mother had sadly passed following his birth. After immediately falling in love with him, Emily began the painstaking process of adopting him and bringing him back to the UK. After enduring 5 years of expensive legal fees, lengthy court appearances, the pair are now finally home. And it wasn't long before viewers fell in love with shy Adam, too, who was seen hiding behind a pillow and resting his eyes. "Adam lounging around on the sofas is what we all need right now," joked one, while a second penned, "Make yourself at home, Adam." A third added, "Adam is how I feel every Friday, to be honest." While a fourth commented, "I just want to give Adam a pillow and a blanket so he can snuggle up." Taking presenters Dermot O'Leary and Alison Hammond back to 2014, when she decided to volunteer in Uganda, Emily explained, "I'd been traveling lots before then, and when I went there, it was the start of many planned travels. A few weeks in, I was volunteering for the orphanage, which I wouldn't necessarily do again now, but I wasn't very aware of the negatives back then. A few weeks in, we were called to go and collect a baby boy whose mom had unfortunately passed away, and it was this one." Expanding on why she wouldn't necessarily volunteer again, Emily said, "I don't regret it at all. Obviously, it's brought me here, but I've just seen how it negatively impacts the children. Volunteers coming and going." Allison went on to ask whether they just had an instant bond straight away. "I did," said Emily. "At the time, the charity director said, 'Can you be his one-to-one carer, because there's a lot of children at the orphanage, and as a newborn baby, he needed a lot more intense care.' I agreed and very quickly became attached." Emily was 22 years old at the time, while Adam was just 5 days. When Dermot asked if she had any idea what to do, Emily replied, "I think it came quite instinctively. I'm quite maternal anyway. If I didn't know, I asked. I'd call my mom. The charity director also had a baby a few months older, so I was definitely thrown in the deep end, but I just went with it." Emily was supposed to be there for 2 months, but extended her stay to about 7.5 months. After that time, she had to come back to the UK. "I had no money," she said. "I didn't feel like I could volunteer forever. I just had to. So I moved back to the UK, but I very quickly got as many jobs as possible, and I was going out on visits to see Adam as often as I could." She added, "Even when he was a little baby, I knew I was going to find it very hard to say bye, but I didn't see it as an option that I could adopt him. I just didn't see a possibility." Speaking of the adoption process, Emily said, "Everyone has a very different experience out there. Mine was particularly unlucky. I moved out to adopt him just before he turned 2. You have to foster for a year before you can apply to adopt, but for us, something went wrong constantly. Whether it was paperwork went missing, court dates were canceled, paperwork had names misspelled, it was just one thing after another. The adoption process in Uganda ended up taking 3 years, and then we were there 4.5 years in total before we came back." She continued, "The whole thing was difficult, and then COVID hit. The day we had his appointment to get his passport, there was a lockdown and everything closed, so that just added more delays." Emily recalled the moment she and Adam landed in Birmingham Airport with her parents, who Adam had been chatting with for years, but had never met in person, came to pick them up. "It was emotional, but I'd also been imagining it for many years. But it was weird for it to be actually happening. He gets on really well with them." Host Dermot O'Leary explained that in terms of process, that now he's here, Emily almost needs to start the process all over again. "I do," she explained. "Even though he's here on a visa, he's got a visa to stay here. He can go to school, use health care, everything. I'm not legally recognized as his mom in this country. I've got to go through the whole adoption process again. I've got social workers on it and things, and we're doing a court application. I'm not as worried, though, because he's here with me." Emily set up a GoFundMe page to help her adopt Adam, but she just thought it was going to be friends and family, but then it really kicked off. "I'd never actually intended to ask for any money, but I'd gone out there, got myself a job at an international school, and then I lose it after a few months. Someone suggested I set one up because I didn't know what I was going to do, and I did, and it blew up quite a lot. I've got a lot of people following me on social media and things who have helped us out, and we couldn't have done it without them. When asked what his mom was like, shy Adam, who hid behind a pillow, said, "I like sleeping with my mummy."